Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft Season 10. Kind of. Today, I am back on the Hermitcraft Season 10 world download to tackle my next build in a hermit space. The first of which you can see right here. And though I built it months ago, in episode 1, I still think it's my favorite thing that I've built in hermit spaces. And you can see the link to that video in the description, but for now, we are going this way, which I actually can't show you because I've already built it. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into a time lapse and speak to you about it there. So without further ado, let's get into building. Okay people, here is the beautiful spot where I'm going to start building. These are two mountains made by Bdubs and they are absolutely stunning. Now my main concern is I don't want to mess up the visual line of this. These mountains are very much made to be like background visuals for the main part of his base, and I don't want my build to obstruct that. So I have to keep that in mind as I'm building. I really don't want my building to be seen when you're walking through his side of the base, if that makes sense. So we're keeping it small and humble, just something cozy. I started off with the framework and then just throwing stuff out there. I had no plan, other than the fact that I knew I wanted some sort of farmer or animal caretaker to live out here. I would like to add some animal pens and farms and expand upon this build. This little episode is not the only time you're going to see this build, so bear that in mind as we make this little house into a home. I did all of this on live stream and had a good time sketching out some ideas with my chat. I recently saw the azalea leaves being used like clovers in the ground in one of Bdubs' old Building with Bdubs episodes, so I tried that out here as well. And as you can see from that little stump on the left, I wanted a tree there, some sort of oak tree, one that I haven't built before. So with very limited knowledge of how to build oak trees and some crossed fingers, I jumped right into it. This tree, as you see it now, is not the finished product of what I ended up choosing at the end. This was just me failing at trying to build one. This looked more like a willow tree and an oak tree if they had a baby, which is not what I wanted to do. So this little fella did not stay long, so don't get attached. Once I got fed up with the tree, I hopped back to the actual base, which is more important. I tend to hop around and I enjoy doing details more than the build itself oftentimes, but I'm still loving that tower view in the background. That has got to be my favorite thing that I've built so far, and if you want to see that video, you should click the card on the screen popping up right now. The editing is a little rough. It was before I had flashbacks, so bear that in mind, but we learn and we grow, and I'm just still new to this, so I have a long way to go. Anyway, tower talk aside, I started working on the roof. Again, zero plan, just kind of throwing stuff out there. I do like the block palette that I chose. I think it's very nice and all the colors work together well. I want it to feel very like organic and natural, nothing bright or jumping out at you, just a humble cottage for the farmer or animal caretaker that lives out here. As you can see on the left there, we had a visitor, a little trader coming through. Me and my chat named him Fred. We actually gave him a name tag and put him in a boat to try to save him, but he is no longer with us, unfortunately, so rip Fred. And then I'm just continuing to fill in the roof here. At this point, I started thinking about what I wanted to do for the back of the building because I don't want to have too much sticking out so I can maintain Bdubs' visual line that I mentioned earlier, but I wanted it to have some detail because right now it's just plain. So to prepare for that, I took down that first tree and tried my hand at a better oak tree, one that is bigger and the leaves would be shaped much better. I kept adding different layers and tried to make the leaves rounder. I think I really underestimate just like the size of the leaves and how big they really should be. I'm used to like spruce and pine trees, things that are tall and have almost like geometric based shapes. So something being more rounded and softer like an oak tree is new to me, and I definitely have a lot to learn, but I mean, hey, that's why I'm here. The Hermitcraft world download has been amazing for me to learn how to build more, and I really love the journey. It is like one of my favorite things to do, especially on stream. I love building and sketching out ideas with my chat, and it's nice to see some other Hermitcraft fans, new viewers popping into the chat and just experiencing it with me. I mean, that's one of the things that the Hermitcraft server is really all about, is community and fostering a beautiful little spot on the internet about creativity and just what's the best about Minecraft, and I love that. So after this, I decided to start trying something in the back. So I added some little windows, chests, barrels, the little back door, and then decided that I was gonna try to make some wheat farms. So this may not stay, or I could make it larger. I haven't decided yet, but once this time lapse is over and you see it in the context of the rest of the build, try and decide what you think about it. I'm really open to suggestions with all of these things that I'm doing. It's very helpful to see somebody else's perspective because sometimes when you're the only one building them and the only person's opinions that you're hearing is your own, then sometimes you kind of like just grow stagnant and miss details or suggestions that your own brain maybe didn't provide for you. I hope that makes sense. And here is the wheat as it is now. I added in some of those little dry bushes, which I really like for detailing wheat farms. I think they're super nice and just break up some of the monotony. I wanted to put sunflowers in, but the flower was facing the wrong way, so I just got rid of them. After that, somebody in chat suggested building a well, so I went ahead and started that. I struggled with this for quite a while for some reason. I honestly don't know why. I had been building for like 2.5 hours, which isn't that long, but to me it was, and I just was absolutely fumbling every attempt. But I ended up with a decent looking well. I literally just wanted it there for the detail, and it looks semi-functional, so that's enough for me. I also did some off-camera like terraforming in the surrounding area to prepare for the details, little buildings, animal pens, and things like that I want to add in the future. If you have a suggestion about what animals I should keep here for this little farmer, then let me know. Okay, finally we are onto the interior, which I started recording for a little bit late, but you'll see the majority of it here. I did this off stream as I am really not good with interiors. I really don't feel very comfortable building them, so I wanted to be able to have like a very low pressure building experience as I tried to sketch out ideas. Every interior I build, even though if I end up liking them, I just feel like they all look very similar and same aesthetic, so I wanted to break that pattern with this build. So I tried to keep in mind some of the fundamentals that I've seen some of my favorite builders use, like different levels to the house, which you'll see me add later, and sectioning off rooms with little decorative doorways, kind of like this one you see me building now, and just different stuff like that. Here is where I start messing with the floor and ultimately decide that I want to bring the floor down one level for this little like square shape I end up making by the back door that leads out to the wheat farms. Honestly, I was just jumping all over the place. I have no consistency with most of my buildings. I never really stick to one part and finish it. That's just how my brain works. I like hopping around. I feel like it protects me from some monotony or like getting like almost blind to what I'm building. I don't know if that makes any sense, but to me it very much does. So yeah, I'm just trying to make this cozy and lived in, almost like, you know, in the Legend of Zelda games, particularly like Breath of the Wild, there's a few cottages that you find along the way and they have like all the hallmarks of a cozy lived in home, but like you don't see the person who lives there necessarily. I was kind of going for that vibe, so you'll be able to tell who this person is without meeting them. And then here I finally did that little square section of floor that I talked about a second ago. Almost like, what do they call that? Like a mud room? Then here I was very excited to add like an indoor greenhouse. I love plants IRL. I have like 20 to 30 plants in my room alone and an outdoor flower garden every summer, so I really wanted to do something like that in here and I had fun doing that. I wanted it to feel very magical and whimsical. I think that was fun. It's not the most functional maybe because there's not a whole lot of natural sunlight if you're thinking realistically, but I was thinking the frog lights at the top could maybe be grow lights. And then I definitely did end up flooding the room on accident a couple times with these water tubes, but I ended up getting it to work eventually, and that's what matters. And then adding accessories here, again, to have a lived-in feel. Like, what tools is he using, and what does he have at his disposal to care for these plants? Stuff like that. I wasn't really sure what to do with this space, but I figured it would make the most sense to have like utility items and storage, so that's what I did. I mean, he's got to keep the rest of his stuff somewhere, right? So I did that, and I tried to make it look very homey. And then finally, just more sections being added, trying to figure out what shapes I can make to make sure that this house doesn't feel too rectangular. And of course, you can never have enough plants. Now with that, let's go ahead and hop into a build tour and I'll tell you my final thoughts there. Okay, welcome to this little build tour. So a few things have been added or changed since the end of those time lapses, so we'll talk about those as well. Just a quick little rundown. You can see over here I added a little chair swing to this tree and I thought it was super cute. I mean, sure, it's not functional, but you can't tell me that that's not adorable. Look at that. You can see my tower in the background. I think that's a good little view. And the spore blossom up there giving us some pretty particles amidst the leaves as well. Now this outside has remained the same, but I added some of this hanging moss. I totally forgot this existed and I really like that. I also added in some glow lichen, which you can't really see, but adds the tiniest bit of texture as well as light in the evening. I also added some extra plants and this cute little pumpkin. I'm obsessed with the mini blocks. I think they're so cute. I have some of them in here. In the future, I'd like to make some trees for the farm and add bees nests. I think that'll be super cute. Now the inside, first person perspective of the interior, I think is pretty cozy. There's some cobwebs up there. I mean, hey, these ceilings are kind of tall for a little Minecraft fella, so it makes sense that there would be some webs growing in. I like this thing, how it sections it off into this little square-shaped room that takes you out to the field, which we will go in a second. Got the storage and the greenhouse. I added some fireflies under the ground so you can see some of the sparkly particles, and I think it's cute and whimsical. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this interior. I feel like I almost want it to feel more closed in, but I think that's my only complaint with it. Maybe I could stand some more detail on this side. I feel like there is some space that's open that doesn't feel like it's necessarily being used and lived in as much as I wanted. It has a couple good viewing angles, so I like that. Now let's run back here and see the wheat field. The path runs through that way. You can also see some of his base. Over here I added some mud and things like that to show that this is an area that's often walked on and maybe got a little wet and muddy over time. But I like being able to walk through the wheat field, especially if I end up expanding it later on to add other farms. Nothing special on the side of the building, just a window, but I kind of made a face out of it. It's okay. I feel like it's so hard to avoid making faces when you make windows. As usual, let me know what you think and what I should add to this base, because genuinely I love having your all's ideas and I love integrating them into it. Also, how cool is that my tower is just perfectly framed in between the tree and the house back there. I love that. I think this is one of my favorite views. From really far away, it's kind of foggy almost in the distance, in between the two mountains. Maybe I could stand to improve the tree a little bit more, but that's okay. I can go back and fix it. And depending on what render distance you have, you usually can't see the house too much, which is what I was trying to avoid. It's a little visible. It really depends where you are on the base, as I didn't really want to mess this up, but it's mainly for practicing anyway, so I think that's okay. I still think my Bdubs tower is always going to be my favorite. That is going to be it for me today. I hope to see you in a couple of weeks in my next video. I have a lot of fun stuff coming up soon, including non-Hermitcraft related stuff, so I'd love to see you there. If you have suggestions on how I can make that build better, what I should build next, or how I can make it look more like Bdubs, then let me know. That's it for me today. I will see you very soon. Have a good day, and happy building.